So here we are, taking this guy down today. Not the best climb, not the best tie-in point. Kind of on an awkward angle, but I'm gonna get it done.
What's up, guys? I'm gonna be talking a little bit over this video. This is the second job of 2020, and we just got paid for the first one, so thanks a lot. Puts my mind at ease. Alex, I appreciate it. So without further ado, forgive the timing in this one, but I want to let you guys know why my video production has been kind of lagging this past week. And that's not because I don't have videos, but it's because my fucking hands. It's my fucking hands, bro. I got that fucking carpal tunnel syndrome, which I've had for years and years and years, but doing tree work has made it arguably worse. Now, last winter was very bad. I'm not going to get into like the big details of it, but it was really bad. And I couldn't feel two of my right fingers the entire winter. And when I learned how to manage it and kind of how to control it and how to avoid it, because look, man, all our guys get carpal tunnel. It's part of it, but it's manageable. But this job that I'm showing you guys right now was a big one. And as usual, in traditional bridge burners fashion, we bit off more than we can chew, which is what the fuck we do, by the way. And I don't mean in terms of difficulty, but I mean in terms of time frame and price, and mainly time frame and price. And in terms of difficulty, the job was worth way more than the price that we charged the custy, but we wanted to do it, and we did it, and we did a pretty fucking good job. Now, towards the end, not in this video, but several videos from now, because I've got about 3 hours of footage, and I'm not going to upload it fucking straight up. I'm going to break it up and edit out the boring parts. And, you know, like this right now, I would be editing it out, but I've got some stuff to update you guys on. So, so that's why I'm talking. So I say some stuff while I'm climbing. I can see the sound waves here, but I'm just going to talk over everything pretty much, and I'm going to lower the sound later. So another reason I haven't been uploading that much, so my hands really hurt. And this was a big job. I thought it was going to take half a day, and it took a day and a half, and we busted our ass. And there was a lot of complicated rigging in it, but that's why we wanted to do it. But the long and short of it is that climbing really, it doesn't necessarily fuck up your wrists, but you bend your wrists in a lot of strange positions. You know, tying and untying knots, fumbling with carabiners, and this all takes place up in the air. So on the ground it's bad enough, but just the fact that you never are able to work at the ideal angle, like it hurts. So being an arborist, or doing any job, I think, like being a welder or a painter, you're always trying to position yourself to get into the best angle. Now, sometimes, you gotta like reach out and like do it with one hand, but that's not the ideal. The ideal every single time is that you get into position, good, solid working position, even if you're in a sketchy place, and that you're always working from pretty much the same position. So your legs are always the same way, your head's always the same way, your arms are always the same way, you're always holding the saw the same distance away from the tree. And if the tree is nice and healthy and normal, you can do that. And this tree started off okay, but it was really fucked up because it was fucking rotten to shit. And you guys are going to see a little bit later on, the place that I was tied in on this tree is not a good tie-in point. The top half of the tree is all fucking dead. And my branch that I'm tied into is not only dead, rotten, it's cracked. And I'm also only tied in to the middle of the branch. So ideally, you would tie in right at the crotch of the branch. But there's a little nubby on the branch, and it took us an hour to get our throw bag in there, and we did a double load test. We did a single load test, which is one person swings on the fucking rope and sees if it holds, and it held. But the real load test, the double load test, is when two people swing on the rope. And when we did that, the branch cracked. So naturally, like any smart arborist, we didn't do it anymore. I climbed the sketchy ass tree off of my shitty fucking dangerous cracked tie-in point. And my plan, as I'm executing now, is to climb up to that tie-in point, retie it properly, and use my secondary, flip line on the way up. Like, it seems like a lot gnarlier than it is, and I'm just joking about it. Like, yeah, it's not the safest, like, by the book way to do things, but whatever. So having said all that, that's pretty much what I'm doing in this video. And this pool, yeah, like, it's not that big of an obstacle, but the thing that sucks is that as I retied my line higher and higher throughout this job, the tree got weaker and weaker. And all these branches that stick out, they have to be tied either to themselves or to the rest of the tree when we take them down to make sure they don't hit the pool or they don't fall too hard on the cement patio around the pool that you can't see in the snow. So the branch I'm touching now, we had to rig it, and we had to rig some other stuff too. And you always have to think, is the piece that I'm tying this branch to strong enough to hold the branch without breaking, while the tree is also supporting my weight? So, if you can, you want to tie into a separate limb. But is a separate limb going to be stronger? And you want it to. So you always have to kind of think 2 steps ahead, at least. And, if you don't have the option, you don't have the option. But if you're tied into a certain place while you're working, without going crazy about it, but you have to consider that, like, if anything happens to that tie-in point, like, you kind of want to have a fail-safe. But sometimes it's overkill, and sometimes it just gets in the way. So this is not one of those times, but this is kind of a frustrating job, and I fumble around with a lot of stuff. But okay, so that's basically it about the job. Now, as far as my hands are concerned, like, yeah, all this stuff too, and adding the vibrations of a chainsaw, like, it doesn't help. And especially at night, if you sleep in the fetal position, which a lot of people do, or you fall on, or you sleep on your hand and your hand is bent, so you wake up with your hands numb. And basically, like, the carpal tunnel, it's an actual tunnel. It's made up of 8 different bones, and a whole bunch of things can happen in the tunnel to kind of squish it. It doesn't mean it's wrecked for good. Even if you sprain your wrist, that's why your fingers get numb after. Because there's a nerve that goes through the tunnel, and it kind of gets pinched. Now, any stress on your wrist can cause your hands to go numb. And it's beyond that. It goes above the wrist. It can be in your forearm, or it can go all the way up to your shoulder. So you can have an injury in your shoulder, or like a little bit lower than your shoulder. And if the injury is in a certain place, it'll give you carpal tunnel syndrome, and it'll prevent, the nerve from doing its thing through the carpal tunnel. So, understanding this, it put my mind at ease. And there's like a lot of stretches you can do about it, and that's pretty much a solution. You can get surgery also, but surgery is not a guarantee, and the surgery is useless if you don't do the stretching first. And you can also avoid the bad movements. So, no, the bad movements are not tree work in general. It's just like the bad parts of tree work. So sometimes it still happens, sometimes it's inevitable. But for the most part, after last winter it went away because I made some changes, and it came back basically after this job. And it came back with a fucking vengeance. Now, it's going to go away again, but that's the reason I haven't been uploading. It hurts a lot to use a mouse. A lot. And it hurts to type. And it's just not worth it. And I tried, and I'm also having issues with my frame rate. This is all shot in 60 frames per second, but iMovie now is having a new glitch. It's only letting me shoot in 30 frames per second. I'm on the phone with AppleCare trying to figure it out because I've been using iMovie for 12 years, and I don't like changing programs just because. And right now, in the meantime, until they solve my issue, I'm using a free trial version of Final Cut Pro, which I do not like, because although it lets me keep my frame rate, the aspect ratio is incorrect, and it's very, very, very hard for me to adjust. I still haven't figured out how to adjust it yet, and I've spent about 6 hours on it in the past 2 days, or in the past day, and these are 6 painful fucking hours, 15 minutes at a time. That's all my wrist will let me handle, and then it goes numb. And then at night, like what happens now is that like my hand swells up and I can't feel anything, and it feels like it's on fire, and there's nothing I can do, and it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. It feels like a balloon that's just like getting full of water. It's about to pop, and I can't sleep. So I haven't slept really for the past couple of days. I mean, I've dozed off like here and there, but every time I wake up after sleep, the pain is agonizing, and it didn't used to be like this before. So I don't even want to upload this video because it's not in the frame rate that I like. So it doesn't look the way that I want it to look, and it's really frustrating to me because I've got 3 hours of footage to sift through, and I have a lot of things to say. I have a lot of things that I want to post, and I can't really post them. So yeah, I know woe is me, but ultimately, look, it doesn't really matter. And I guess the point of this video and the point of this story is that this comes with the territory, and it's not supposed to be some woe is me shit. It's just a small price to pay, you know, to live the life that I want to live. And, you know, I would gladly do it again. So it's interesting, you know, because I know that it's manageable. And every time it happens, that's where I'm tied in. See, up there in the middle of the fucking branch. So I fixed that, but this tree, yeah, it gave me some issues, as you guys are going to see several videos from now. As far as the main removal went on this job, like all these branches here that you see, the ones sticking out, it went really well. But unfortunately for us, there were 2 stems. So basically 2 trees. So we did one day, and we did one the other day. Now another thing that happens, you know, it happens, never happened to me before I did tree work, but it's common enough in tree work, because the other guys can relate to it, but your muscles cramp. And they cramp after you push yourself for too far, and especially if you don't eat. And for the people that ask me why I haven't done like the keto diet and stuff like that, well, that's the main reason. Because if I don't eat in the morning, like even though I don't feel like it, eventually I'm going to go to move my arm or my leg and it's not going to move back. I'm going to reach across my chest and my chest is going to contract and it's not going to uncontract. And that's the beginning of the fucking end. And it's long to recover. So it's just easier to follow a kind of balanced diet. Now sometimes I get nervous or I want to stay light on my feet. And yeah, okay, I don't feel like eating before work or at work, but it's almost essential to kind of like force yourself, if you do this line of work, to have something in you and to know what the signs are that you should stop. You know, stop working, that is, and working for yourself. Luckily, you know, you can, this is all your call. So experience, you know, lots of experience in biting off more than I can chew many times. That stupid fucking branch, see that shit? And another one has taught me, you know, kind of how to recognize the symptoms. And, you know, we both train our bodies a lot, as much as we can, to be the best vessel possible for the task at hand. And this is the task at hand. So see, I fixed my tie-in point, but that limb is fucking not looking good. I know it's like strong enough, but I'm about to do some fucked up shit in this tree. And that fucking tie-in point is not the ideal place. And yeah, that's pretty bad, but wait till you see the fucking tie-in point in the next video. But anyway, that's that. So wish me a speedy recovery on my neuropathy, carpal tunnel syndrome, and stay tuned for more content. Have a great weekend, guys. Take care.